Would you out there? Yes, clear. The line clear. Pacific. 4423 live. We'll get the mobile station. On the intercom. C7?
Yes, ma'am. We'll be clear, and 233 will be clear on the N4 E. Edward, and so we both be assisting.
It's 7:34 p.m. We've been sealed in this basement for over 2 hours. The air is getting stale, harder to breathe. Every breath feels thin, insufficient. People are getting restless, anxious. The reality of our situation is settling in. We can't stay down here forever. Patricia called a group meeting. All 43 of us gathered in the dim light of our failing phone batteries. We need to make a decision, she said. We have maybe 4 more hours of breathable air, maybe less. We can't wait any longer. What about the fallout? Someone asked. What about radiation? We don't know if the weapons were nuclear, Patricia said. That radio broadcast was broken. We don't have confirmed information. But if they were nuclear? Jennifer asked. Her voice was hollow. She'd stopped crying hours ago. Now she just sounded empty. Patricia was quiet for a moment. Then we're dead anyway. If we stay down here, we suffocate. If we go up and there's lethal radiation, we die slower. Either way, staying here isn't an option anymore. The brutal honesty silenced everyone. I need volunteers, Patricia continued. 2 people to go up with me. Scout the situation, see what's left, see if it's survivable. Nobody moved. I understood why. Going up there meant potentially walking into radiation, into fire, into whatever hell Chicago had become. But staying meant certain death. I'll go, I said. Everyone looked at me. I'm a structural engineer, I continued. I can assess building stability. I know what to look for. If the upper floors are compromised, I can identify safe routes. Patricia nodded. Okay, one more. Tom stood up. I'll go. His voice was steady now. The panic from earlier was gone, replaced by something else. Resignation, maybe. Or purpose. My wife is in Naperville, he said. My son. If there's any chance they're alive, I need to know. I need to try to reach them. Patricia looked at him for a long moment, then nodded. The 3 of us prepared. We took wet cloth and tied it around our faces as makeshift filters. Took the last working flashlights. Took our phones even though they had no signal. If we're not back in 1 hour, Patricia said to the group, assume we're not coming back. You'll need to choose someone else to lead. You'll need to make your own decisions. She didn't say what those decisions might be. She didn't have to. We unsealed the door to the stairwell. Smoke immediately poured in. Not as thick as before, but still present. Chemical. Toxic. We started climbing. B2 was destroyed. The storage level had collapsed. We had to climb over rubble, squeeze through gaps in the wreckage. My flashlight beam showed twisted metal, shattered concrete. Things that used to be furniture now reduced to splinters. There were bodies. I tried not to look, tried not to count. We kept climbing. B1, the parking garage. The cars were crushed. The ceiling had partially collapsed. Some vehicles were burned out, just blackened metal skeletons. But we could see daylight. Cracks in the structure above us, letting in pale light. We climbed toward that light. The ground floor was gone. Just gone. Where there used to be a lobby, there was now open air and rubble. The front of the building had been sheared away, like a dollhouse with the front wall removed. We stood at the edge and looked out at Chicago. I've lived in this city for 15 years. I know every street, every building, every landmark. What I saw wasn't Chicago. It was something else. Something from a nightmare. The skyline was broken. The Willis Tower, that massive black monolith that had dominated the skyline for decades, was leaning. Actually leaning. Its top floors were gone and the remaining structure tilted at an angle that made my engineering brain scream that it should have collapsed already. The John Hancock building was on fire. Massive flames pouring from the upper floors. Black smoke rising into the evening sky. Everywhere I looked, buildings were damaged. Some partially collapsed. Some completely gone. Just piles of rubble where skyscrapers used to stand. The streets were buried. Debris everywhere. Cars overturned. Fires burning unchecked. No emergency services. No sirens. No helicopters. Just smoke and silence. Jesus Christ, Tom whispered. The sky was wrong. Darker than it should be at 7:30 p.m. in October. The smoke was so thick it was blocking the sun, creating a twilight that felt unnatural, and the smell. Even through our makeshift masks, I could smell it. Burning. Chemicals. And underneath that, something else. Something organic. Death. The city was dead. Look, Patricia said, pointing. In the distance, maybe a mile away, something was glowing. Not fire. Something else. A strange greenish light that pulsed and flickered. What is that? I asked. Nobody answered. We stood there for several minutes, just looking, processing, trying to understand the scale of what had happened. Chicago was a city of 2.7 million people. How many were left? How many had made it to shelter? How many were buried in the rubble we could see? We need to check radiation levels, Patricia said. Does anyone have a Geiger counter? We didn't. Of course we didn't. Who carries a Geiger counter? My phone has a radiation detection app, Tom said. It's not accurate, but it's something. He opened the app, held his phone out. We all watched the screen. The readings were elevated, higher than normal background radiation, but not immediately lethal, not yet. Could be scattered fallout, Patricia said. Could be from fires burning radioactive materials. Could be sensor error. We can't know for sure. So what do we do, Jean? I asked. Patricia looked back toward the stairwell, then out at the destroyed city. We go back down, she said. We tell them what we saw. We give them the choice. Stay and suffocate or come up and take their chances. We started back down the stairs. As we climbed, Tom stopped. Wait! He was looking at his phone, staring at it. What? Patricia asked. I have signal, he said. Just one bar, but I have signal. He immediately started dialing, held the phone to his ear. We waited. It's ringing, he said. His voice was shaking. It's actually ringing. Then, Sarah? Sarah. Oh my God, baby, are you okay? He was crying now, sobbing. I'm alive. I'm okay. Are you safe? Is Michael safe? He listened, and his face changed. The relief turned to something else. Horror. What do you mean evacuating? Where are you going? Sarah, listen to me. You need to... The call dropped. Tom stared at his phone. She said they're evacuating Naperville. Military convoys. They're taking people west, away from the city. She said something about a second wave. Something about... His phone rang. He answered immediately. Sarah? But it wasn't Sarah. Tom's face went pale. He was listening to something. Someone on the other end, talking fast. Then he lowered the phone slowly. That was an automated emergency broadcast, he said. It said all survivors in the Chicago area need to evacuate immediately. It said there's another attack coming, a second wave, targeting survivors and rescue operations. When? Patricia asked. It didn't say. Just soon, it said move west. Get at least 50 miles from the city center. It said this is not a drill. We looked at each other. A second wave. They weren't done. They were going to hit us again. We need to go, Patricia said. Now. We need to get everyone up and moving. We ran back down to B3. The group was exactly as we'd left them. Tired, scared, hoping we'd bring good news. Patricia didn't waste time. The city is destroyed. Radiation levels are elevated but survivable. But we just received an automated broadcast. There's a second attack coming. We need to evacuate. Now. Where do we go? Jennifer asked. West, Patricia said. Away from the city. 50 miles minimum. How? Someone asked. The cars are destroyed. The roads are blocked. We walk, Patricia said simply. We walk or we die here. The choice was that simple. It took 15 minutes to get everyone ready. We moved the rubble blocking the stairwell, started helping people up. The injured went first, the man with the broken arm, Jennifer with her limp, others with cuts and bruises. We left the 4 dead bodies behind. There was nothing we could do for them now. As we climbed, I could hear people behind me reacting to what they saw. The destruction, the devastation. Some were crying, some were silent. We emerged onto the ground floor just as the sun was setting. The smoke made it darker than it should be, painting everything in shades of orange and black. 43 survivors stood in the ruins of our building, looking out at the ruins of our city. Which way is west? Someone asked. I pointed. That way. Toward the suburbs. Toward the expressway. The expressway is probably blocked, Tom said. Then we go around it. We find a way. We keep moving. Patricia organized us into a single file line, told everyone to stay together, to help each other, to not stop unless absolutely necessary. How far is 50 miles? Jennifer asked. A day's walk, Patricia said. Maybe more in this terrain. But we start now. We can make good distance before dark. It already is dark, someone pointed out. They were right. The smoke had turned late afternoon into twilight. We started walking. Through the rubble. Over debris. Around fires still burning. I looked back once at our building. It was still standing, barely. The basement that had saved us was now just a tomb for 4 people whose names I never learned. We walked west on what used to be Madison Street. The street signs were still there, twisted and bent, but readable. We passed other buildings, other ruins, and occasionally we saw them, other survivors. A woman sitting on a curb covered in dust, staring at nothing. A man digging through rubble with his bare hands, calling a name over and over. A group of teenagers huddled in a doorway, too scared to move. Patricia tried to tell them about the evacuation order, about the second wave. Some listened. Some didn't respond at all. We kept walking. The city stretched on forever. block after block of destruction. Sometimes we'd see a building that looked intact, and then we'd get closer and realize soon it was just a facade. The interior was gone, burned out, or collapsed. My phone showed 8:47 p.m. We'd been walking for over an hour, maybe covered 2 miles. At this rate, 50 miles would take a full day. We didn't have a full day. As if responding to my thought, we heard it. A sound from the east, from behind us, from the direction of the lake. A deep rumble, getting louder. "What is that?" someone asked. I knew what it was. I'd heard that sound before, earlier today, when the first impacts hit. "Incoming," I said. "Everyone down. Now." We dropped to the ground. Some people dove behind debris. Some just fell flat on the pavement. The rumble grew louder, closer. Then the sky lit up. Not from the west where we were heading, from the north. From somewhere in the direction of Evanston, or maybe further. A flash of light so bright it turned night into day for a split second. Then the shock wave hit, weaker than before. We were further away, but still strong enough to feel. Strong enough to make debris shift and dust rise, and everyone press themselves flatter against the ground. The explosion echoed across the city. Then another. Then another. They were hitting the suburbs now, the surrounding areas, trying to catch evacuees, trying to kill survivors. When the explosion stopped, we got up slowly. "Is everyone okay?" Patricia asked. 43 voices confirmed, still alive, still moving. "We need to go faster," Patricia said. "They're bracketing us." Hitting evacuation routes. We need to get ahead of it. But we were exhausted, injured. Some people could barely walk. "There," Tom said, pointing. A parking garage, somehow mostly intact. Cars inside. Lots of cars. "We need transportation," he said. We ran to the garage, started checking vehicles. Most were locked. Some had been abandoned with keys inside. We found 3 cars that worked. 3 cars with enough gas to maybe get us out of the city. 43 people. 3 cars. We packed in tight. 15 people per car. Way over capacity. Dangerous, but necessary. I ended up driving one vehicle. A Honda SUV with a cracked windshield and a dent in the side, but it ran. We pulled out of the garage and onto the street. The other 2 cars followed. Navigation was difficult. Most streets were blocked. We had to backtrack constantly, find alternate routes, but we were moving, faster than walking, putting distance between us and the city center. My phone, sitting in the cup holder, started buzzing. Not a call, a notification. I glanced at it while navigating around an overturned bus. "Emergency alert. Ballistic missile threat inbound to Chicago metropolitan area. Seek immediate shelter. This is not a drill." "No," I whispered. "Not again." "What?" Jennifer asked from the passenger seat. I showed her the phone. She started crying again. "How much time?" someone in the back seat asked. I checked the alert. "It doesn't say. Just that it's inbound." "How far are we from the city center?" Tom asked over the radio we'd found in one of the cars. I checked my GPS, still working somehow. "About 8 miles. "That's not far enough," Patricia's voice came through. "We need to be at least 20 miles out to avoid the primary blast radius." "Then we drive faster," I said. I pressed the accelerator. The SUV lurched forward, 40 miles per hour, 50, 60. We were on the Eisenhower Expressway now, still heading west. The road was relatively clear here. Most people had abandoned their cars miles back. Behind us, Chicago burned. Ahead of us, darkness and uncertainty. And somewhere above us, invisible in the smoke-filled sky, missiles were falling. How many? How big? Where would they hit? We couldn't know. We could only drive. My phone showed 9:34 p.m. We'd covered another 15 miles, 23 miles from the city center. Maybe safe, maybe not. The radio crackled. Not our improvised communication, the actual car radio. A voice came through. Official, military. Attention all survivors in the Chicago metropolitan area. This is the United States Northern Command. Multiple hostile missile launches have been confirmed targeting the region. Estimated time to impact, 8 minutes. If you are within 30 miles of downtown Chicago, you will not have time to reach minimum safe distance. Find the nearest substantial structure and take cover immediately. Repeat, take cover immediately. 8 minutes. We were 23 miles out. Not far enough. Not nearly far enough. There, Tom said over the radio. That overpass. We can shelter under it. I saw it. A highway overpass. Concrete and steel. Not much protection, but better than being caught in the open. All 3 cars pulled over. We got out and ran for the overpass. 43 people huddled together under tons of concrete, waiting for the end. Again. I pulled out my phone, started recording. This is David Rosen. It's October 12th, 2028, 9:42 p.m. We evacuated Chicago, made it 23 miles west. But there's another attack coming. We're taking shelter under an overpass on the Eisenhower Expressway. I looked around at the faces. 43 survivors. People who had been strangers this morning. People who were now the closest thing to family I had left. If anyone finds this, if anyone survives to hear this, you need to know something. We tried. All of us. We fought to survive. We helped each other. We didn't give up. The sound was building again. That distant rumble. I don't know if we're going to make it through this, but I need someone to know we were here. We existed. We mattered. The rumble was getting louder. Jennifer was praying. Tom was holding his phone, looking at a picture of his family. Patricia was standing at the edge of the overpass, staring east toward the city. The missiles are coming. I can hear them. God, I can hear them. The sky lit up behind us. Multiple flashes, bright enough to cast shadows even here, 23 miles away. The shock waves hit seconds later, weaker than before. The overpass shook but held. More flashes, more impacts. They were destroying what was left, making sure nothing survived. The bombardment lasted 3 minutes, the longest 3 minutes of my life. When it stopped, we waited. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Finally, Patricia said, "Is that all of them?" Nobody answered. We didn't know. We stayed under that overpass for another hour, waiting, watching the horizon glow orange and red with fires. When it became clear no more missiles were coming, at least not immediately, Patricia made the decision. "We keep moving," she said. "We get further out. Find other survivors. Find military. Find someone who can tell us what the hell is happening. We got back in the cars. I started the engine, pulled back onto the expressway. In the rearview mirror, I could see Chicago, or what used to be Chicago. The entire skyline was gone. Just smoke and fire and darkness. 3 million people lived there this morning. How many were left now? We drove in silence. 43 survivors in 3 cars, heading west into the darkness. And behind us, the city died.